My beloved child, stop scrolling for a moment and listen carefully to me right now, because what I am about to reveal is not ordinary. Heaven does not interrupt a person's path without reason. And the fact that you found this message at this exact moment means something powerful has already begun moving in the spiritual realm around your life. Archangel Michael says, you touched heaven without even realizing it. And because of what you did, a divine reward has already been released with your name on it. No, this is not coincidence. No, this is not random. And no, you are not imagining the strange feeling deep inside your spirit lately. Something shifted. The moment you made that painful decision, the moment you stayed silent instead of seeking revenge, the moment you forgave someone who never apologized, the moment you cried alone and still chose to trust God, heaven saw everything. You thought nobody noticed your struggle. You thought your silent obedience meant nothing. But my child, heaven was watching every second. And at the exact moment your heart chose faith over fear, angels moved. A spiritual door opened. Chains began breaking. A divine announcement was spoken over your life. That is why you have been feeling different lately. That is why your spirit has been restless. That is why you keep feeling like something huge is about to happen. Because it is. My beloved child, I need you to stay with me until the end, because this message carries an urgency your soul cannot afford to ignore. What is coming toward your life is not small. It is not temporary. It is not another delayed promise. This is the beginning of your reversal season. For years you carried burdens nobody understood. You smiled while secretly breaking inside. You encouraged others while secretly praying for strength yourself. You kept loving people who drained your spirit. You kept helping others while heaven watched your own tears fall silently at night. And still, you remained kind. Do you understand how rare that is? Most people become cold after pain. Most people become bitter after betrayal. Most people stop trusting after disappointment. But you didn't. Even wounded, you still carried compassion. Even exhausted, you still prayed. Even confused, you still hoped. That is why heaven responded. Archangel Michael says, the test was never about perfection. It was about your heart. And my child, your heart passed the test. The enemy thought the pressure would destroy you. The darkness thought isolation would silence you. The delays were supposed to make you quit. But instead, they prepared you. Every painful season was secretly building spiritual strength inside you. Every closed door protected you from something beneath your calling. Every betrayal revealed who truly belonged beside you. Now heaven is saying, enough is enough. The suffering season is ending. The hidden tears are being answered, and the reward that is approaching your life will arrive suddenly. You may not see movement yet in the physical world, but spiritually, everything has already begun. There are conversations happening about you right now. Doors are opening in places you never expected. People are being spiritually guided toward your destiny. Opportunities are aligning behind the scenes, and a miracle that once seemed impossible is now being prepared for release. This is why the enemy has been attacking your mind lately. Because darkness senses what heaven is about to do. The anxiety, the exhaustion, the overthinking, the emotional heaviness. None of it appeared by accident. The enemy attacks hardest before breakthrough because he wants you to quit moments before your blessing arrives. But listen carefully to me now. Do not doubt yourself anymore. Do not return to fear. Do not speak negatively over your future. And do not abandon the vision God placed inside your spirit, because what is coming will change everything. My beloved child, heaven wants you to understand something important tonight. Your recent action created a spiritual reaction. When you chose obedience instead of comfort, when you chose humility instead of pride, when you chose prayer instead of giving up, the atmosphere around your destiny shifted immediately. Archangel Michael says, I saw angels carrying new assignments connected to your life. You thought your prayer disappeared into silence, but heaven preserved every word, every midnight cry, every whisper, every moment you begged God not to leave you. Every painful prayer spoken through tears. Heaven heard it all. Nothing was wasted. And now your answer is closer than ever before. There is someone watching this message right now who almost gave up recently. You smiled in front of everyone, but secretly, you were tired. Tired of waiting. Tired of struggling. Tired of hoping. Tired of carrying emotional wounds nobody sees. But this message found you because heaven refused to let you quit before the miracle arrived. Listen carefully. The delay was not denial. God was preparing timing so perfect that nobody could steal what belongs to you. If certain doors had opened earlier, they would have destroyed you. If certain people had stayed in your life, they would have delayed your destiny. If certain prayers had been answered immediately, you would have settled for less than heaven intended. Now you are finally ready. Ready to carry influence. Ready to handle blessing. Ready to walk in spiritual authority. Ready to become the person God showed you in secret visions long ago. My beloved child, something powerful is happening even now as you read these words. The heaviness on your spirit is lifting. Confusion is breaking. Fear is losing its grip. And divine clarity is beginning to enter your mind. You are not crazy for feeling different lately. Your spirit recognizes that a transition season has begun. The old version of you is dying. The fearful version, the insecure version, the exhausted version, the version that accepted less than God promised, and a stronger version is emerging, a wiser version, a healed version, a spiritually awakened version. This is why some relationships are fading away. This is why certain people suddenly feel distant. This is why old habits no longer satisfy your spirit. You are evolving spiritually, and not everyone can go where heaven is taking you. Archangel Michael says, protect your energy carefully now. Not every voice deserves access to your mind. Not every person deserves access to your peace. And not every opinion deserves your attention. The next chapter of your life requires spiritual focus, because what heaven is about to place in your hands will attract attention. People who ignored you will suddenly notice you. People who doubted you will suddenly respect you. People who abandoned you will suddenly remember your value. But do not become distracted by temporary validation. Stay close to God. Stay grounded in prayer. Stay connected to your purpose. Because your breakthrough is not only about money or success. This is about transformation, generational transformation, the pain that followed your family for years, the emotional cycles, the fear, the limitations, the struggle. It ends with you. Yes, you. That is why your journey has been harder than most people around you. You were never fighting ordinary battles. You were breaking chains others could not even see. And heaven honors warriors who continue walking by faith even while bleeding silently. My beloved child, there is something else you must understand tonight. The miracle approaching your life will not arrive the way you expected. God is going to surprise you. An unexpected phone call, a divine connection, a financial breakthrough, a sudden opportunity, a healing, a restoration, a door nobody can shut. It will happen suddenly. And when it happens, you will realize why everything had to unfold exactly the way it did. One day soon you will look back at this painful season and finally understand. God was never abandoning you. He was positioning you. Every delay had purpose. Every disappointment had direction. Every closed door carried protection. And now the reward is closer than ever before. Archangel Michael says, the spiritual battle around your life has already shifted. Victory is approaching faster than you realize. Even now, angels are working behind scenes you cannot yet see. Situations are changing. Hearts are changing. Timelines are changing. Your story is changing. The season of survival is ending. The season of overflow is beginning. And my beloved child, when this blessing arrives, never forget the nights you cried while nobody knew. Never forget the prayers whispered through pain. Never forget how God carried you when you were too exhausted to carry yourself. Because those hidden moments built the person you are becoming now. You are stronger than you think, more chosen than you realize, and closer to breakthrough than ever before. So tonight, lift your head again, pray again, believe again, trust again, because heaven has not forgotten your name. Archangel Michael says, "What was delayed is now being released. What was stolen is being restored. What was broken is being healed, and what once looked impossible is becoming reality." This message reached you for a reason. Your season is changing, and the miracle already has your name on it. My child, my cherished one, I have navigated through battles to deliver this word to you. I have stood in meetings in the heavenly realms where your name was spoken not once, but repeatedly, as if heaven itself refused to forget you. And I must tell you something, now with absolute clarity. What you are stepping into is not ordinary time. It is a divinely marked transition. There are seasons in a soul's journey when everything feels paused, and then suddenly, without warning, everything begins to move at once. That is what is happening to you now. The delay you experienced was never abandonment. It was preparation disguised as silence, because what was being built for you required a version of you that could not be rushed, and now that version has emerged. Even if you do not fully recognize it yet, heaven does. I saw it clearly. A shift in your inner light, a stability where confusion once lived, quiet strength that no storm could easily shake again. This is why doors that were once sealed are beginning to loosen, not because the world changed, but because you changed in a way the unseen realm could no longer ignore. My beloved, listen carefully. There is a reason certain conversations suddenly end without explanation. There is a reason some people drift away without closure. And there is a reason opportunities you once chased now feel like they are slowly turning back toward you. Nothing has been wasted, not a single tear, not a single delay, not a single rejection. Everything was rearranging your path into alignment, and now that alignment is complete, movement begins. But understand this deeply. The next phase will not look like what you expected. It will not arrive in the form you imagined, because heaven rarely delivers miracles in the packaging of human expectation. Instead, it arrives as timing, as encounters, as sudden clarity, as doors that open without effort. You will notice it first in small ways. A conversation that shifts your direction, a thought that keeps returning with unusual peace, a situation that resolves itself without your control. Do not ignore these signs. They are not coincidence, they are confirmation. And I must warn you, my child, the enemy will attempt to confuse what is unfolding. It will try to make you think nothing has changed. It will whisper that you are imagining things. It will try to pull you back into old cycles of doubt. But you must not return to what you have outgrown, because what you are leaving behind is not just a season. It is a version of your life that can no longer contain who you are becoming. Also want you to understand something very sacred, dear. Were not chosen because your path was easy. You were chosen because your spirit did not fully break when it should have. You survived moments that were meant to silence you. You kept moving when everything inside you wanted to stop. And even in your weakest hour, something within you refused to let go of hope completely. That is what heaven responded to. Not perfection, not strength, but persistence in the unseen darkness. And now, my beloved, the response is arriving, but it will require something from you, not struggle, not fear, not striving, only trust. A trust that does not demand immediate proof, a trust that continues even when answers are delayed, because what is forming around you now cannot be understood before it manifests. It must be walked into step by step with quiet confidence. There is also something I must reveal to you gently. Some of the relationships you thought were permanent were never meant to accompany you into this next phase. Not everyone who witnessed your past is assigned to your future, and this is where many become confused. They try to carry old connections into new seasons, but what is ahead requires clarity, not clutter, peace, not confusion, alignment, not attachment. So do not resist the natural separation that is occurring. It is not punishment, it is protection. My child, I need you to hear this final part with your spirit, not just your ears. There is a moment approaching you where everything will begin to make sense in ways that words cannot fully explain. You will look back and realize that every delay had precision, every silence had purpose, every closed door had mercy hidden inside it, and you will say, "Now I understand why it had to happen this way." But before that moment arrives, there is one instruction I must give you. Do not rush the why unfolding. Do not force what is meant to flow. Do not panic when things begin to change faster than expected. Because acceleration is also a form of divine response, and what is coming is not slow. It is synchronized perfectly, timed, perfectly ordered, and deeply intentional. Even now, as these words reach you, something is shifting in your atmosphere, not visible, but real, a rearrangement of paths, a soft breaking of resistance, a preparation of doors that have been waiting for your arrival. So I ask you now, my cherished one, stay aware, stay steady, stay open. Because what comes next will not ask for permission. It will simply arrive. And when it does, you will understand why this message had to reach you at this exact moment in your journey. Not later, not earlier, but now. My child, my cherished one, do not mistake the stillness around you for emptiness, what you are feeling, right? Now is not nothingness, it is transition. It is the space between what was and what is about to be born in your life. And in this space, heaven works quietly. No noise, no announcements, only alignment, only preparation, only divine rearrangement. There are moments in a person's life when everything that once felt stable begins to loosen. Not to destroy them, but to reposition them. That is what is happening to you now. You may not fully see it yet, but the structure of your life is being gently adjusted. Some things are being removed without explanation. Some things are being delayed without warning, and some things are suddenly returning without effort. This is not chaos, this is orchestration. And I need you to understand something very deeply. Heaven does not rush what it has carefully designed. Even when your heart feels impatient, even when your mind questions the timing, there is a higher rhythm already in motion, a rhythm that does not follow fear, a rhythm that does not follow confusion, a rhythm that only responds to divine order. My beloved, there is a reason you had to walk through silence, because silence is where distraction is removed. In noise, you listen to everything, but in silence, you finally hear what matters, and what you are hearing now is not outside of you. It is rising from within you, a knowing, a settling, a quiet confirmation that you cannot fully explain, but you also cannot deny. That is alignment beginning to speak. And I must tell you something important. The next chapter of your life will not begin with announcement. It will begin with recognition. You will recognize a door that feels different from the others. You will recognize a path that does not drain you the way the old ones did. You will recognize peace in a decision that once terrified you. That is how you will know, not through noise, but through peace that remains even when logic cannot explain it. My child, listen carefully. There are forces that tried to confuse your identity, moments when you questioned your own worth, moments when silence made you feel forgotten, moments when delay made you feel overlooked. But none of those moments defined you. They only refined you. Because what is chosen by heaven is never defined by temporary conditions. You were not being rejected. You were being prepared to carry something heavier than your past could handle. And now you are standing at the edge of that responsibility. But do not be afraid, because what heaven assigns, heaven also strengthens. You will not enter this next phase empty. You will enter equipped. Even if you cannot see the equipment yet, it is already within you. Patience you did not know you had. Wisdom you gained through pain, discernment that came through loss, and a resilience that could only be formed in pressure. All of this is your preparation, and now it becomes your foundation, my beloved. There is something else I must reveal. The people who misunderstood you are about to begin seeing you differently, not because you changed your appearance, not because you spoke louder, but because your life will begin to reflect a truth they could not see before. There will be moments when you are not explaining anything, yet everything about you will begin to make sense to others. That is how Transformation works when it is real. It does not argue, it reveals. And revelation always silences confusion. But be careful in this season. Do not rush to prove yourself. Do not rush to convince those who doubted. You do not return to places where you were only valued in your absence, because what is ahead of you requires forward movement, not backward validation. And I tell you this with full clarity. The more you grow, the less you will need to explain. Let your life speak where your words once struggled. Let your peace answer what your voice could not. Let your results carry what your explanations could not fix. My child, something is also being healed within your emotional world. Wounds you thought you had already accepted are quietly being touched again, but this time with gentleness. Not to reopen pain, but to release it completely. There will be memories that no longer sting the way they used to. There will be names that no longer carry weight in your spirit. There will be situations you can finally think about without breaking internally. That is healing happening at a deeper level than emotions. That is restoration, reaching the roots. And when roots are healed, fruit becomes different. Your life will begin to produce differently. Your decisions will feel lighter. Your relationships will feel clearer. Your direction will feel less forced. This is not accidental. This is restoration unfolding in layers, and I need you to remain steady through it, because even healing can feel unfamiliar when you are used to pain. My beloved, the paths you stopped thinking about may open again, but do not panic in acceleration, because acceleration is not confusion. It is confirmation that alignment is complete. And when alignment is complete, things stop resisting you. What once felt blocked begins to flow. What once felt distant begins to approach. What once felt impossible begins to unfold. Naturally, but you must stay centered, because speed without grounding can make people miss what God is doing in front of them. And you are not meant to miss this season. You are meant to walk through it, consciously aware, present, anchored in peace, my child. I must also speak to you about something very important. Distractions will increase before breakthroughs fully manifest. Not because you are losing ground, but because transition always triggers resistance in the unseen. Old cycles do not leave quietly. They attempt to pull you back emotionally through doubt, through nostalgia, through fear of the unknown, but you must not return. You cannot step forward while holding the hand of what you were meant to outgrow. And I say this with compassion, not pressure. Let go gently, but let go fully, because what is coming does not require your past version of survival. It requires your future version of trust, and that version is already forming within you. Even now, even as you read this, even as something inside you quietly agrees without needing proof. That agreement is important. That inner yes is sacred, and heaven recognizes it, my beloved. I will leave you with this final understanding in this part of your journey. Nothing about your life is random, not the delays, not the detours, not the silence, not the waiting. Everything has been moving toward a single moment of clarity, a moment where you will look back and finally see the pattern. And when you see it, you will no longer question what you endured. You will understand what it was building inside you, and you will no longer say, "Why me?" You will quietly realize, it had to be me, because you were not just surviving your story, you were being shaped by it, and now the shaping is complete enough for the next phase to begin. So stay steady, stay open, stay aware, because what is coming next will not need permission to enter your life. It will only need your readiness to receive it, and that readiness is already growing inside. You quietly, steadily, powerfully, my child, my cherished one. I have navigated through battles to deliver this word to you. I have stood in meetings in heaven where your name was spoken with great care, great urgency, and great love. I witnessed angels pause when your story was mentioned. I witnessed books being opened that contained prayers you thought had vanished into silence years ago. Nothing was forgotten. Not one cry. Not one lonely night. Not one whispered prayer spoken through tears when you believed no one was listening. Heaven heard all of it, and now the response is unfolding. My beloved, there are moments in life when destiny quietly approaches without announcing itself loudly. This is one of those moments. You are expecting thunder, but God is moving like the sunrise. Slowly at first, softly at first, yet impossible to stop once it begins. and it has already begun. You may still see ordinary surroundings around you. You may still wake up in the same room, face the same responsibilities, hear the same voices, but spiritually everything has shifted. The atmosphere around your life is no longer the same. The weight that once sat heavily upon your shoulders is beginning to crack apart. That heaviness was never meant to become your permanent identity. You carried burdens that were too heavy for one heart. You carried disappointments no one truly understood. You smiled while privately fighting battles that exhausted your soul. There were days you kept going only because stopping felt even more painful. But heaven saw every hidden battle, and now heaven is responding. My child, I need you to understand something important. The breakthrough approaching you is not random luck. It is not coincidence. It is not merely good timing. It is the harvest of endurance. The harvest of surviving seasons that should have broken you completely. Do you realize how many times you almost gave up? How many nights you questioned whether anything would ever change? How many moments you wondered if your prayers had become trapped behind closed heavens? Yet still somehow your spirit kept reaching upward. That reaching mattered more than you know. Because heaven does not only respond to loud faith. Sometimes heaven responds most powerfully to exhausted faith that refuses to die. And that is the kind of faith you carried, even when your voice trembled. Even when your hope weakened. Even when you felt spiritually numb. Something within you kept saying, "Do not quit yet." That whisper preserved your future. My beloved, I must also reveal this. Many things that looked like delays were actually divine protection. There were doors you cried over that would have destroyed your peace if they had opened earlier. There were people you begged to stay who secretly carried confusion into your destiny. There were opportunities you thought you lost forever. But heaven blocked them because they were beneath what was truly prepared for you. You interpreted silence as rejection, but heaven interpreted it as preservation. You thought you were falling behind, but spiritually you were being repositioned. And now the repositioning is complete. This next season will feel different because you are different. Your spirit is no longer desperate the way it once was. You are beginning to desire peace more than applause, truth more than attention, alignment more than approval. That transformation inside you is sacred because it signals maturity in the spirit, and maturity unlocks access. My child, listen carefully now. Very soon, something unexpected will begin unfolding around you. At first it may seem small, almost easy to overlook. A conversation, a message, an invitation, an opportunity that appears ordinary on the surface. But do not dismiss small beginnings. Some miracles enter quietly before they transform everything loudly. The enemy wants you distracted, because distraction causes people to miss divine timing. But you must remain aware, sensitive, spiritually awake, because what is approaching your life carries answers attached to it. Answers for the confusion, answers for the waiting, answers for the tears nobody saw. And when these answers arrive, they will not only change your circumstances, they will change your understanding of your entire journey. You will begin to see why certain chapters had to close, why certain relationships had to end, why certain storms lasted longer than expected, because none of it was meaningless. Everything was shaping your capacity to carry what comes next. My beloved, the version of you entering this next chapter cannot think like the old version anymore. You cannot carry old fear into new favor. You cannot carry old insecurity into divine opportunities. You cannot carry yesterday's pain into tomorrow's assignment. Something old must fully release. And I know that release can feel uncomfortable. Because sometimes pain becomes familiar. Sometimes struggle becomes an identity. Sometimes survival mode feels safer than trusting again. But hear me clearly. You are no longer entering a survival season. You are entering a rebuilding season. A restoration season. A revealing season. And restoration always feels unfamiliar before it feels natural. My child, heaven is also healing your perception of yourself. For too long you measured your worth by what went wrong, by who left, by what failed, by what did not happen when you expected it to happen. But your value was never determined by temporary outcomes. Your value was established before the world ever wounded you. And now God is restoring your vision so you can finally see yourself correctly, not as abandoned, not as forgotten, not as damaged beyond repair, but as chosen, refined, protected, prepared. There is also someone reading this who has been secretly asking heaven for a sign. You asked quietly because disappointment made you afraid to hope too strongly again. But this message itself is confirmation that movement has already started in the unseen realm. The shift is real. The breakthrough is real. The restoration is real. Do not let fear convince you otherwise. Fear speaks loudly when miracles are close. That is why your thoughts have felt so conflicted lately. Part of you senses change approaching, while another part fears disappointment. But you must not allow old pain to interpret new possibilities. This chapter is not the same as the last one. You are not the same person anymore. And what is coming toward you has been shaped by divine wisdom, not human unpredictability. My beloved, I also need to warn you gently about comparison. Do not look at the lives of others and assume heaven forgot your address. Some people appear ahead outwardly while secretly falling apart inwardly. Some people appear successful while carrying emptiness nobody can see. But your path has been designed differently. God was building depth inside you before building visibility around you, because visibility without depth destroys people, and heaven refused to allow that destruction over your life. That is why your journey required hidden seasons, hidden growth, hidden healing, hidden preparation. But hidden does not mean abandoned. Seeds are hidden before harvest appears, and your harvest season is approaching now. You will begin noticing unusual favor. Things that once resisted you will start cooperating. Situations that felt impossible will suddenly soften. You will encounter help from unexpected places. And at first you may struggle to believe it is truly happening, but it is. Do not shrink when blessings arrive. Do not sabotage joy because pain became familiar. Do not push away peace because chaos once felt norm.